Hi, everybody. It's Joe Chaffee, and welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. You can see Joe Rayo is over there. What I need to know is if you guys can hear me. It would be a big help if you could let me know if you can hear me. Uh, so just please post it on the chat board that you can hear me, and I can see if I can figure this out. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, thank you. So my audio is fine. Okay, is fine. All right, we're going to try and fix this. So if everybody can be just a little bit patient. I don't know what's going on. Um, let me see this. Try this again. Uh, okay, you're not muted, so that's not it. And now I'm going to unmute. Uh, God. Okay, can you un? All right, we're trying to fix this, folks. I'm sorry about all this. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so you're unmuted. I don't understand this. Mm. All right, well, that works. I don't get it. I don't know. Testing one, two, three. Okay, I'm good. I don't know. Hold on. Okay, so your volume is up. Okay, and everything here is the same. Folks, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, he can't hear me. I can't hear him. You can hear me. So this is an exercise in futility. I'm trying to figure out. I didn't touch anything or do anything. How about we do this, Joe? A new Zoom link. Let's try that and see what happens. Okay? So everybody just kind of stand by here. I'm going to put that up on the screen so you can see what's happening. I'm not going to go away. I'm just going to send Joe a new Zoom link and let's see if that helps. Uh, Join with computer audio. Okay. Copy link. All right, we're trying to. I gave him a new Zoom link, so let's see if this works. Now I hear you. Okay, you're there. That was odd. Oh, you don't know the half of it. Let me start the show. Okay, everybody, we're all here. You can hear Joe Rayo fine, correct? Good. Okay, so let me just start this off so this way I can edit it down for when it goes down on a podcast and everybody will be happy. So just give me a moment here. Tonight we have severe weather across the southern plains and through the Mississippi and Missouri River Valley. Warm weather has taken over in the eastern part of the United States, and hey, who knows? Somebody could hit 90 degrees tomorrow in parts of the northern mid-Atlantic states up into southern New England. We shall see. And we'll take a look at the week ahead in the long range. And that's tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, brought to you by Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is pinned in the description to this podcast. And if you purchase this or anything else from the Joe and Joe Weather Show, I'm sorry, anything else from the weather link, make sure you use the coupon code winter 2020. I'm sorry, the coupon code is spring 2024. If you do, you will get. Okay, so hold on. I'm hearing you, but people are not hearing you. All right, so let's see what's going on here. So so there's that. Um talk to me.
Hello, one, two. I
Now you're
can.
okay. You're finally there. All right, good. All right, let me get rid of
Anybody hear me
this.
now?
Joe should be able to hear you. They should be able to hear you because I'm getting. I,
Yay, yay.
yay, 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 yay. Oh, good God. Oh,
Tom Contino
yes.
would say, Rich Rodmansky says Tom Contino would say you should use a Mac.
Mac. Yes. Well, look, I will tell you this. It's out of nowhere. So I'm just going to give you a warning because I think you said you have an HP laptop, correct?
Who me? I'm not using the HP laptop.
Okay. What do you have? A desktop you're on?
Yeah, I'm using it on my desktop.
Okay. What brand is your desktop?
It's your favorite, Hewlett Packard.
That's an HP. Okay. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did some sort HP did. They did something over the weekend where when I'm typing on my keyboard, okay, if I'm typing a sentence and I put the caps lock on, a small box comes up with a big lock that says cap locks locked. And it sits there for 5 seconds and then disappeared. When I turn the cap locks box off, it unlocks. It unlocks. That's the keyboard works fine. But then this thing comes up on the screen, a small box that says, and it comes up in the middle of the screen. All right, that says cap locks off. So if anybody on the chat board who's tech savvy knows how to get rid of it, because I have searched for every solution. Apparently, this is a problem that just began over the last couple of days. So I'm looking on message boards, and people are complaining about this, and they can't get rid of it. And every solution that's been offered doesn't work. Okay, they all don't work. So there's that. It's their usual thing, and send out an update that's got that's got problems. We know it has problems, but we'll send it out anyway, and then we'll fix the problems as we go along. I know I did Google it, Christinapedia. It's everything. Um, and I don't have auto updates on. This was an HP thing. I don't know how it happened. I have my auto updates off everything. Okay. So I don't. it's crazy. It's just crazy. So I'm going to do what I usually do, Joe, is just to tolerate it, and then wait until it fixes itself. And usually 99 times out of 100, it
That's what
fixes
you.
itself. And then one day it just won't be there. So anyhow, uh, all right, let's get to some important stuff because this has been, we were talking about this through much of last week about these two strong upper lows in the West, one following the other, literally a day apart. And what we've seen is just incredible, severe weather over the plains, and now in the Mississippi and in the Missouri River Valley. I mean, it's just been. I don't even know what words to use to describe it.
Well, I had posted on my Facebook page Friday night the tornadoes that raked Nebraska, and I put this on my Facebook page. I don't think this is going to be something that's going to be upsetting to anybody who's watching right now. But one of the people who commented said, whoever filmed that, whoever chased those tornadoes down, literally coming to within a hairbreadth of where those tornadoes were, had balls of steel. And I would have to agree, Joe. I mean, like,
Well, I think
it,
I know. I think I know who that is because I did reach out to uh, this particular storm chaser. I want to get his name right because I used to be great with names.
I made the
And
comment. I said, now you know why I chase eclipses because they're a lot safer than chasing storms. And whoever this person was, it was ridiculous. I mean, literally, I think he was putting his life on the line just to
a-
get a close-up view of a what looked to be like at least an EF4 tornado.
right, Adam Lucci, storm chaser Adam Lucio. I actually sent him an email. He was part. It was actually a group of people. I don't remember the other names, but he happened to be there and just kind of helped to sort of rescue everybody. So it was, anyway, I reached out to him, and I hope if he watches this show, we'd love to have you on so you could talk about your experience once everything calms down, because I know those guys are all, they're all out tonight running around with whatever severe weather is happening. Um, Thank you, Christina, Christinapedia, for sending me. I just got your message. So after the show's over, I'm going to try to get rid of that darn little notification thing that comes up. Yeah, I watched over the last 3 days. I mean, I think it was Friday night. There were like 5 or 6 ongoing tornado watches at the same time, and last night the same. There were like 4 or 5 tornado watches all ongoing at the same time. And you know what galls me though? What really galls me is, so I write for Newsbreak, which is a news app, and so I've been writing about this severe weather outbreak for the last 3 days, and people leave comments, and most of the time I really don't pay attention to them because they're mindless. But there's always a couple of people, Joe, who just say that the whole thing, one person just 2 words, not true, not true.
I mean, not true.
Well, the forecast that I was putting up, SPC's forecasts and all the rest of it, not true. And it just, I can't, I'm, I am so amazed and at the same time angered by the fact that, um, you know, Facebook seems to be, and Twitter is the same. They're all the same. They're all the same. It's a collection of experts in every possible category. Everybody is an expert in every possible category. Everybody knows everybody else how to do everybody else's job. And it just infuriates me when I see stuff like that because, when I see something like that, Joe, I take it personal. They're calling me a liar. They're
Well,
saying they're saying what I've written is a lie. How
Joe,
else am I
Bill,
supposed to take that?
Bill Murray, comedian Bill Murray, came up with an excellent line for this, and I pass it on to you and pass it on to everybody on the chat board. And here it is. It is hard to win an argument with a smart person, but it's damn near impossible to win an argument with a stupid person.
It is.
So,
It's true.
yeah. So,
Yeah, that's so true. It really is. I simply how did I just replied with a couple of simple words. Uh, I want to quote it exactly. Um, let me. I'm gonna bring it up on my screen so I can see what the hell it was I said. Memory is such wonder. Getting older is so wonderful. Uh, let's see. All right, that wasn't it. Thankfully, I wrote four words, Joe. This person says not true. The forecast I put up is rare, moderate, severe weather risk and damaging tornadoes. Texas to Illinois, EF2 to EF5 tornadoes possible. That was my headline, and they wrote not true, and I wrote okay, said the idiot. That's those four words. Okay, said the idiot. And of course, you know what happens at these keyboard warriors. I would say 90% of the time, they don't ever respond back. Not that I would have answered anyway, but they just kind of see something, they read a headline, and they don't even read what what the actual content is. But it just is so. I'm just amazed at the. I'm just amazed that there are people out there who really think that everything that they see is fake. Everything. And
right.
I suppose, I suppose with AI, you have to start being more and more skeptical about anything is that you see, because you don't know whether it's been altered or not. In fact, I will tell everybody because on my videos, any videos that I do, I have to check a disclaimer box on YouTube that says I'm not using, anything AI. If I am doing something AI, I have to I have to disclose it. And I honestly just, I always like we never use AI here. I mean, we tried it once just for laughs, talking. Other than the European AI model, but that's different. Um, I'm not personally generating. You're not personally. You and I are real. We're not, AI creations here. So, uh, but it's just, the thing is, it's just you try to do the best job that you can, and you've got these morons that just live in a world where only they know what the truth is. Only they know what reality is.
It's all a conspiracy, Joe. We all know that.
It is. So enough of talking about stupid people. Why don't we go to what's going on tonight? Because we do have a busy evening tonight with severe weather. Uh, and tonight it's a little bit further south. Eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, southwestern Missouri, the southern Arkansas, much of northwestern Louisiana, and then back into East Texas and even down into interior parts of South Texas. We have a very large tornado watch box that is up, and there's also flood watches in there as well. Uh, the good news is that with respect to these two storm systems and the severe weather that they have produced over the last 4 days, that there's going to be a break tomorrow. Just marginal risk along the Gulf Coast, and that's about it. But you can see on the radar, there's a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings going on in Texas on the highway that goes from Houston to Dallas. About a third of the way up from Houston, we've got a couple of tornado warnings that have just been posted. Also, further north, in eastern Oklahoma. We've got a couple of tornado warnings, a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings, and a flash flood warning that's up, and that's extending on up into Missouri. And most of the models have these storms actually increasing in strength for the next 4 or 5 hours. So they're going to go into the nighttime hours. And as you often say about getting thunderstorms and tornadoes at night, it is probably one of the more frightening things that you can experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there is nothing more. I've actually felt scared with just a regular or moderately strong thunderstorm in the middle of the night. I can't even imagine being under the risk or under the gun for straight line winds and possible tornadic activity. at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. That'll probably turn my hair a new shade of silver or white. It's horrible. But these poor people who live in the nation's midsection, they've been going through this now for the past 2 or 3 nights, and it doesn't seem to want to end. It looks like it's going to be going on again for at least one more night tonight.
Yeah, I am above Tornado HQ at the moment. There's a tornado warning in Cherokee County in Texas. So I always like to look to see whether they actually have confirmed or if it's just, if it's from the radar. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 9 miles west of Alto or 12 miles south of Rusk, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. There's a whole bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings, as you saw on the radar shot that we had. Uh, there's another tornado warning in Madison, Texas. That's supposed to expire in 14 minutes. By the way, it's 8:03 Eastern time, folks. So if you're watching this on a replay later tonight or listening to this as a podcast, please go to weather.gov for the latest weather information because obviously what we're doing here is live. So it's going to be dated if you watch it an hour from now, 2 hours from now, or first thing tomorrow morning. So anyway, very busy. And this is all also producing some hefty rainfalls, which is, a lot of these places, Joe, have been doing this now for the better part of 4 days. So they're working on a half a foot of rain or more in some places.
And more rain to come. I don't even know where I could begin if I were a forecaster in that part of the country, that section of the country. It's just terrible. And meanwhile, we here in the Northeast, anybody who's complaining about the fact, I mean, this morning, Joe, at around 4 a.m., it was pouring here. I mean, it was coming down cats and dogs, picked up a quick 4/10 of an inch of rain from that one heavy duty shower. Much of the day, though, today was dry. Then we finished out with some widely scattered light showers, which will add to what we picked up early this morning, but nothing to compare with what they had over in the central part of the nation.
There's actually some showers right now in northern New Jersey, northeastern PA, in the Hudson Valley. There looks like there's a heavier downpour heading for you on the radar. Let me make sure I got this. Yeah, I mean, this is the latest. I just updated. In fact, there's the leading edge is now just northwest of New York City. There's showers in parts of southeastern New England and parts of southern New England and upstate New York. We're kind of on the edge. That warm front pushed on through, and it's kind of slowed down a bit as it moved up into New England. So uh, it's going to take another little push to get it up further north, and that'll probably happen during the overnight. There's also a lot of showers and rain across the upper Great Lakes and back into northern Wisconsin and Minnesota. Some heavy rains there, and you can see the curl on the satellite, the signature there. So it tells you that you've got an upper low that's sitting somewhere in northern Nebraska or southern South Dakota that's rotating around and lifting on up to the northeast. But fortunately, I mean, as the weather tonight obviously is rough with respect to the severe weather. It's a little less robust than what it was yesterday. So, you know, that's a plus if you want to look at it that way. And tomorrow, it does look like it will be a bit tamer because all of this energy is going to be up into Canada by then. And this cold front, Joe, coming east, when it reaches the East Coast on Tuesday, is going to have probably some showers and maybe even a thunderstorm or two with it. But I'm not, at least right now, I'm not thinking severe weather risk.
Now, I don't think I agree with you. I don't think this is going to be reaching severe conditions. Rumbles of thunder, yeah, there may be a little of that, but nothing, that will get too much out of hand.
On the there's a lot of clouds in the north and east of northern New Jersey up into New England. Again, that's that warm front that's just sort of struggling a little bit. And you can see the increasing lightning strikes going on across Texas and into southwestern Arkansas in the last frame, just getting in there. And also in northeastern Oklahoma into southwest Missouri, we're seeing a ton of lightning strikes. And then the cloud rotation with the upper low is pretty obvious there again up in northern north central Nebraska, south central South Dakota, and lifting on up to the northeast. We had an okay day here in the southeast. Some patchy clouds, but we also had some sun. I was out there doing yard work all day, and I'm tired. I'm very tired. Uh, WPC with the 7 day rainfalls are still showing, and this is on top of what's fallen in the last 4 days, which in some places has been quite substantial. It's a bit uneven because of the thunderstorm, the nature of the thunderstorms, but uh, an additional 2 to maybe as much as some 5 and 6 inch amounts on top of what's already fallen, with the heaviest in East Texas, Southeast Texas, also into Western Louisiana, and back up into Arkansas. Not a whole lot up and down the East Coast with this weather front over the next 7 days. The one that's going to come Tuesday night is, they've got mainly a quarter of an inch with some heavier half-inch plus three-quarter-inch plus amounts in Northeast PA and on up through the Catskills and into upstate New York and Vermont. From southern New Jersey southward down to Georgia and Florida, we're looking at most a tenth to a quarter of an inch in most places. A few isolated pockets, like in North Carolina, there you see a little patch of blue, which would be about a half inch, inch to inch and a half amounts up in the northern Rockies, and inch and a half plus amounts up in the Pacific Northwest. SPC. So this is what we're dealing with tonight, and three tornado watches are up right now. We've got a new one that was just issued 27 minutes ago. So right now, it is 8:07 Eastern time on this Sunday night, the 28th of April. In case you've lost track of the date, we have a new tornado watch for Arkansas, covering parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas. And there's also a mesoscale discussion here. Let's see what this one's about. Um, let's see. Tornado threat continues for Weather Watch 159. So it looks like I'm having trouble recognizing the geography here. The areas affected for northeast Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, and southwestern Missouri. So that's for one of the earlier tornado watches. And they say recent surface observations indicate winds across northwestern Arkansas to southwestern Missouri are backing as convection approaches from the south and west. This southeasterly component has not been handled well has by recent RAP analysis data, which may indicate low-level shear is more favorable across this corridor than indicated in recent guidance. So they're talking about the potential for a tornado in that zone that you see here that they've circled. Um, uh, the possibility that there could be a tornado with some of those thunderstorms that we saw on the radar with the lightning flashes showing up in northeast Oklahoma on northeastward into southwestern Missouri.
Okay, well, no major changes. I mean, that's where all the action apparently is going to be for at least the next 24 to 48 hours. Um, uh, Prime Minister Ruben Fairchild on the chat board wants me to explain a comment that I put on Facebook earlier today, Joe, about tomorrow and about how I had indicated that I think that tomorrow will be cooler. He said, "Can Mr. Rayo explain his comment about not hitting 80 tomorrow and it being cooler?" I'll be happy to answer that question. There's a cold front, a backdoor cold front that's working its way southward, coming straight down I-87, if you will, and is predicted to reach New York City, the immediate New York City area, sometime, right around daybreak. Well, actually, shortly after daybreak tomorrow morning, say around 8 o'clock a.m., and then will continue to stay there, subside, or maybe even drop a little further south. But with that front, I'm expecting the winds to turn more out of an easterly direction. And I know that for the past few days, many of you have been hearing about Monday will be a day with temperatures soaring into the 80s, but I made a specific comment about the lower Hudson Valley. I didn't make it about Long Island, New York, or any part of New Jersey. I just said my area, which is the lower Hudson Valley. And I said that winds would be coming more out of an easterly direction, and that I think the temperatures in places like White Plains, Poughkeepsie, Newburgh, my own hometown here in Putnam Valley, are going to be hard pressed tomorrow afternoon to make it much above 70 degrees with those onshore or easterly winds. Now, places that are south of that cold front, and it could very well be. I mean, I mentioned with one person who was questioning this on my Facebook page, the late great Tex Antoine. Whenever we had a setup like this, Joe, he always used to make reference to the 125th Street cold front. Tex would always say that the fronts like this would drop down to about Morningside Heights, 125th Street, and then stall. And if this front does indeed do that, if it does that, then it's quite possible that Central Park and Newark Airport and places south are going to hit 80. In fact, places further down into central New Jersey could reach mid or even upper 80s tomorrow. But what I'm talking about here is a weather front that will be in the immediate vicinity of New York City and places north of the front, which would encompass much of the lower Hudson Valley. Will probably see easterly breezes, cooler temperatures, and readings that will be probably closer to 70 as opposed to 80 or above. So that's my explanation to Prime Minister Fairchild and his comment on the chat board.
On the 21Z map, on the 21Z surface map, the warm front that went through last night is eastern Long Island up into northern Vermont, and then there's a cold front that they've got drawn um, across Lake Ontario and just north of Lake Erie, where it becomes stationary. So there is a high that is up in eastern Canada, and yeah, given the time of year, we are in late April here, folks. We're not in July. But given the time of year, uh, these fronts can be awfully sneaky, and models love to keep them out, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, at the low levels, you get this push that goes southward. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. And I think the fact that when we look on the satellite tonight and you see all these clouds in upstate New York and New England is probably testament to the fact that that front is not pushing to the north at the moment. So it's quite possible that we could see it, stall out during the overnight and then gradually sink its way back southward or southwestward and stall out, as you say, right along the double yellow lines at 125th Street in Manhattan.
The other thing is that, and we talked about this with Renata. I said, another key to this tomorrow, temperature wise, is just how warm it's going to be tonight. If we have a night which is going to be abnormally mild, let's say in the mid or upper 50s, that's a pretty good launching pad for tomorrow. That could help temperatures indeed get to over 70. But if that front comes through and things begin to cool off some before daybreak and drop temperatures back into the mid and low 50s, it may be tough to get temperatures above 70 tomorrow, again in the lower Hudson Valley. So it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out for the next 12 to 18 hours.
So SPC tonight has a slight to enhanced risk, and it's playing out with these tornado watches that we have up, the three of them again. It's 8:15 Eastern Time on Sunday the 28th, just in case you're watching this or listening to this on a replay, weather.gov to get your latest weather information. Now, for tomorrow, it's a marginal risk. South Texas into southeast Texas, across much of Louisiana and Mississippi, and a small portion of southwest Alabama. And I don't think it's going to be, maybe they'll stick a small area of slight risk in there, but I don't think it's going to be anything more than that. Now, for Tuesday, this is for Tuesday into Wednesday. They've got a general thunderstorm. The line goes down Vermont, Western Mass, Western Connecticut, cuts Long Island in half. So everybody west of that line, from New York State all the way down to the southeast, is in an area of general thunderstorms. So there'll probably be some with the weather front that will approach on Tuesday. We do have a new area of marginal to slight risk being indicated from parts of north central Texas through Oklahoma, the slight risk from northeastern Nebraska northeastern Kansas, northwestern Missouri, southeastern Nebraska, and southwestern Iowa. So that's for that. And then on the long range, they've got a 15% risk for central Kansas into west central Oklahoma for day 4. So that's Wednesday into Thursday. And then they also have on day 6, I thought I saw, wait, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, oh, I guess not. Okay. So on day 4, they have the rest of the other days, they have predictability too low for days 5, 6, 7, and 8. And for you snow lovers, we do have the snow map here. There we go. This is the probability for greater than 4, the Cascades and the Northern Rockies. You see a lot of areas of 50 to 80% probability for at least 4 inches. So winter is not done in that part of the country, and that's not a big shocker. And as far as flash flooding is concerned, WPC's got slight risk into tomorrow morning. East Texas, western Louisiana, all of Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, and central and southern Missouri. Marginal risk pushing up into the Great Lakes. Tomorrow, we've got a slight risk for southern Louisiana, marginal risk pushing up into the lower Ohio Valley. And on day 3, they've got a marginal risk, Joe, up the Appalachians, crossing Pennsylvania on a diagonal through upstate New York. They have a marginal risk for flash flooding up. I don't know if we're going to get enough to produce any flash flooding, but if there's some thunderstorms in the mix, I suppose it's locally possible, well inland north and west of the coastal plain.
That would be now for Tuesday, correct?
This is Tuesday into Wednesday morning.
Okay.
And
All right.
another marginal risk in the from Minnesota down to Missouri and then southwest into north central Texas. So there's that. All right,
Okay.
let's uh, let's see what our lovely GFS model is doing. And no, that's not the map I wanted. This is the map I wanted. Okay, so there's your upper low in Nebraska. Remember, there were 2 of these. If you go back, I don't know if we go back far. Yeah, you can see it on going back to last Thursday. The first one formed in northeastern Colorado on Friday and strengthened. Anytime you see these short waves, going forward, any time of year, but anytime you see any of these short waves get into a mode where they're strengthening, okay, that's when you're going to wind up seeing the worst of the weather. And when you go from sort of this open trough that's from Utah down into southeastern Arizona, and suddenly you've got a cutoff upper low in northeastern Colorado with falling heights in the upper atmosphere. That's telling you you've got a strengthening low, and more than likely, because of the time of year we're in, it is certainly a trigger for severe weather. Now, that upper low lifted up, and then another one that came down from the northwest dropped down into Arizona and is now sitting up in right northern Nebraska, southern South Dakota, and it's
Wait,
into
it's kind of like a meteorological seesaw, if you will.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, one pivoted up, the next one dug down. Now that's lifting up, and it also strengthened. It did strengthen yesterday and last night, and now it's kind of holding its own. Still there in southeastern South Dakota, and then that lifts up. And meanwhile, what's left of that energy comes to the east is a short wave that will move through Tuesday night, and you can sort of see the dipping here of the height lines right in. Oh, it's perfect. I drew it last week and it was there. But there you go. So now you have the short wave in the east, but it's in a much weaker state. Okay. If we had if we had an upper low that was forming up in the eastern lakes with the short wave as it was rotating around, then yeah, we'll probably would be dealing with severe weather. We also have another, fairly deep, complex trough in the west, and that is going to be pivoting around for Thursday, which is probably why SPC's got they're short in that range. They have it there in Oklahoma, and I think it was into Missouri. That upper low goes into South Dakota and then lifts up west of Lake Superior, which kind of leaves us in a pretty decent place here. It does have a nice little ridge there in the eastern part of the United States. And there's yet another upper low that comes into California on Saturday and heads up into the Dakotas for the beginning of next week. So the this active pattern for severe weather, Joe, I think is going to go on for a while.
I think so. I think
And,
so, Joe. There's
and
no,
no, go
yeah,
ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
there's no, there's no sign of it of it breaking, the pattern breaking down in the immediate or foreseeable future. So yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, actually, if you look, this is in the long range, obviously, so we'll take it with a grain of salt. But uh, just to illustrate what I was saying before, uh, this is at this is on Wednesday, May 8th. There's a cutoff low there in Wyoming, and if you watch it move along straight east into Iowa and then in the eastern lakes, it kind of opens up a little bit and then strengthens again and cuts off north of Lake Erie. This would be something that you'd want to keep an eye on if it, if this is what it winds up, if the upper air materializes like this with a potential severe weather threat in the Northeast, the model would have it say on May 9th or May 9th into May 10th. But that's the kind of upper air that you would see if there was going to be severe weather here in the eastern part of the United States. And then after that pulls out, there's yet another trough that comes into the west, that comes into the northwest, and that moves into the northern plains and into the western lakes and strengthens as it moves along. So um, we're probably in the best place that we can be to avoid this for a while, but the models might be signaling that maybe after this coming week, that severe weather risks may shift more, a bit more to the east for in the future.
Well, the overall pattern has been signaling, at least from the Climate Prediction Center's point of view, that we will be in more of a dry pattern than a wet pattern over the next 1 to 2 weeks here in the Northeast. But there could be a period for a relatively short time where we could see, a little bevy of shower activity, which could be rather robust. We'll have to wait and see. But uh, certainly, I would agree with you. If across the country, across the contiguous United States, the place to be, the place to try to at best avoid any kind of really nasty weather would be in this quadrant, the Northeast, as opposed to any other sections of the.
Are you there? Hello? Something just happened. Joe?
Hello?
Okay, you're there.
Yeah.
All right, I lost you there for a second. Heard an odd sound. Um, okay, anyway, go finish your thought.
I, I'm just looking at the comments on chat board. Krishnapedia, uh-oh, Joe R. disappeared. And Prime Minister Ruben Fairchild saying, where did Joe go? But I'm back. I'm back. Now, I'm just saying that if of all the places across the contiguous U.S. for the next several days, or at least in the next week, probably the northeast quadrant of the country is probably the best place to be, the safest place to be, as compared to places in the nation's midsection, which again just continue to get hammered.
Yeah, the GFS doesn't really produce a whole lot of rain here. I'm looking here for tomorrow. Actually, tonight into tomorrow morning, it's got a ton in southeast Missouri down into East Texas, which is where you would expect it to be. So it does imply that these thunderstorms that are developing there are going to be a player overnight into tomorrow, and then during the day tomorrow, not a whole lot happens. There's concentration there in southeast Louisiana. And Joe's weather front, by the way, if you look, you see the green stripe that goes across southern New York to northern New Jersey. That's probably where the back door is. And I'm looking at the way the isobars are kinked here. There is some sort of a front that cuts right across New York City and along or along or just south of Long Island. So that I think your analysis for the Hudson Valley and say north and east of New York City will probably be correct with more of an east wind.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I saw earlier today, well, actually, it's the afternoon update that came out about 3:30 this afternoon from NWS in Upton, and they went for southern Westchester, for lower Westchester, for example, and along the Sound Shore and on into Fairfield County in Connecticut. They went for a high temperature tomorrow in the low 80s. And I'm saying, is that possible? Can it? Well, I guess it is possible if
Well,
the
could it get to low 80s, say at like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and then cool off with the when the wind shift
what
happens?
that's what I said. I said depends upon the overnight temperatures. If it's going to stay on normally mild tonight, that will set the stage for a good launching pad for tomorrow morning. But even though it might be unusually mild tonight with temps in the upper 50s to around 60, for example, if that cold front does at that time decide to come, you know, drifting on through and passes off to the south, that's going to very quickly put an end to any kind of significant or substantial warming. The longer that front holds off, the better the odds of the temperatures going quickly up into the 60s and maybe even into the 70s. But again, that's going to be dependent upon where that front is and where it's going to go and how soon it's going to pass on through. It is precariously close to the lower Hudson Valley right now, though. So I would say if you're going to go for a high tomorrow in the low 80s, take that with a grain of salt because I suspect that if it does happen, it's going to happen real early because by the afternoon tomorrow, I think the east winds will be blowing and cooler temperatures will be here.
All right. So Tuesday's front, you can see the model has, some patchy areas with showers late Tuesday into Tuesday night. Doesn't look like it amounts to a whole heck of a lot. There's a new low that's going to form in western Kansas, which opens the door for the severe weather in the southern plains later this week. That low is not like this, it seems like it's less deep. The upper air was suggested to be less intense than the two storm systems we just dealt with, but still, there are pockets of severe weather that are possible later this week in the middle, up and down the entire Mississippi and Missouri River Valley. And if it plays along, we've got dry conditions for Wednesday and Thursday, and probably later on Friday. Looks like another warm front setting up that tries to get through ahead of a cold front that goes by on Saturday, and then something else that passes to our south early next week. And then you've got these stronger systems. There's one in the plains that moves east with some showers and storms. So this would correspond with that upper low track that I was showing you with. And then I don't know what's got this low that comes out of Oklahoma. And now if this surface here for May 9th, where it's got a 990, what is it, a 993 low in northwest Pennsylvania. If this were to verify the way this looked, Joe, this would probably be a severe weather issue for somebody.
Yeah, but that's May
That
9th.
that's yeah, that's May 9th. But again, this is because this
I
run's
forgot
got
who
that active upper air. We don't know if it's going to be that way.
I forgot who it was, but earlier in the show today or this evening, somebody wrote says asking you specifically, Joe, about where's the 50 inches in Boston?
Yeah.
What?
Well, clearly it didn't happen.
Yes, clearly it did.
Isn't that a shock? I
Mm.
mean, it's a shock that it didn't happen. Oh, good God. All right. Anyhow, do you have Briller Jeopardy or do I have it?
I think you may. Well, wait a minute. Let me check. Do, do, do. It's possible I have it, but then again, it's possible you have it.
I have it.
Okay,
I have it.
so it's you.
Okay. Yes. So we're still on this theme here of average state, uh, average annual precipitation per state. Okay. So the first state tonight, Joe, is, and for the chat board, if you're ready, it's Kansas. The average annual rainfall for the state of Kansas.
Okay, Kansas. Uh, hmm. Average rainfall in Kansas. How about I'm going to say I'll say 29.
Ring the bell, Joe. Ring the bell. 29.
Kidding me? Wow, that's amazing.
All right. Well, that didn't last long. Patrick Darcy got 30, and Vincent Croce got 28. So all in range here. How about the great state of Kentucky?
All right, Kentucky. How about 34? That mean I'm going to take a big fall with that?
Well, no, but you're up. You're up there, high up on the mountain. Rich Rothmansky, 46. Prime Minister Reuben Fairchild at 47. Patrick Darcy at 51. Um, the first two were too hot, too low. This Patrick Darcy's a little too high. Northern Grace at 45. So we're in that. You're in the range, but you're not quite there. The answer for Kentucky is 49.
I would,
49.
I would not have thought it to be that high. I would think that a place further south, like Tennessee, for example, would have a number like that, but I wouldn't think Kentucky would have something as high as that. But
Well,
that's
Frank Scalera got it close. He was 48. All right, Louisiana.
oh my God, oh God, 60
Ring the bell.
again?
Yes, ring the
Wow,
bell. 60.
good Lord.
All right, the next one is the great state of Maine.
Oh
The
well,
great state of Maine.
Maine. How about and what was Kentucky? Kentucky was what, 40,
49.
49? I have, I'll say 42.
John Melander said 42. And you know what? You can ring the bell for both of you.
Holy mackerel, what's going on tonight? That's amazing.
This is making up for no audio. Uh, uh, okay, so the last one tonight.
Then I love Vincent Croce.
Well, I would fixes in, yes. um, the last state tonight is Maryland.
Oh, Maryland. All right, well,
Maryland.
how about 46?
Oh God. You,
What? What I do?
no, you didn't, but you Patrick Darcy nailed it with 45, but
Oh,
you were one off.
wah,
So
wah.
except for Kentucky, you pretty much hit it out of the park today.
Yeah, amazing. But there's got to be a bonus question, right?
No, no bonus tonight.
No bonus tonight. All right.
No bonus tonight. All right. So, thanks everybody for your patience as we recovered from that little um, audio mishap earlier tonight. And I guess all we needed to do was get a new Zoom link, and it worked. So, with a Zoom issue. The Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, as always, brought to you by our affiliate Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system and join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is pinned to the description of this podcast. If you purchase the weather station, which, by the way, you can run on your mobile device, and it's very easy to install. They also have all sorts of other weather gadgets and gizmos in smart weather fashion. Use the coupon code SPRING 2024 because if you do, you will get
10% off. 10.
all right, so we'll see everybody, hopefully in one piece, tomorrow night at the regular shopping time, 7:35 p.m. Eastern. Nighty night.
Night, folks.